I've updated my top 10 fades in fantasy baseball, and that list is coming up next on Beat the Odds. Don't go anywhere. Hello sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of Beat the Odds. I'm going to count down the top 10 fades in your fantasy baseball drafts this season. If you like this content, please smash that like button, and a special thanks goes to all of our subscribers who have been watching these videos, as you now account for almost 19% of all viewers. To the other 81% of viewers that haven't yet subscribed, I encourage you to do so, as it helps me create these videos for you. Also, leave a comment on a player that you think deserves to be on this list. Do you want to challenge me in a fantasy baseball league? Sign up for one of my Yahoo or ESPN 12-team head-to-head leagues. I've only got 4 spots left to fill in the Yahoo league and only 2 spots to fill in the ESPN league. You can find the link for these in the description box below. Now let's dive right into the list here. At number 10, we have Raisel Iglesias. You can get him around pick 85. Last season, he posted 5 wins, 33 saves, 68 strikeouts, a 2.75 ERA, and a 1.19 whip. Now, you got to get a piece of a top 2 offensive team, right? If you're talking about the batting lineup, then absolutely. The pitching rotation will have a nice floor because they will be receiving a ton of run support, and that should lead to some extra wins. But with relievers, you get more of these crucial saves from teams who play in close games, so not necessarily a team like the Braves. Iglesias is also one bad month away from losing that role. To number 9 we go, we have Pete Alonso. You can get him around pick 21. 92 runs scored last season, 46 homers, 118 runs batted in, 4 stolen bases, and a 217 average. Even though Alonso was very unlucky when it came to BABIP, you already know what you're going to expect from him. A low batting average, big power numbers, and some solid production hitting in the middle of the Mets' order. Alonso needs a bit of a reversal of fortune for me to validate selecting him in the second round, however. But even if he hits his expecting batting average of 246 last season, that coupled with his inability to run means he will likely be dragging both categories down this season for your team. Let's go to number 8. We have CJ Abrams. You can get him around pick 38. 83 runs scored last season, 18 homers, 64 runs batted in, 47 stolen bases, and a 245 average. Now let's play a little over-under. Is CJ going to repeat his 18 homers from last season? My money is on the under. That wasn't part of his profile coming up in the majors. He was a pure contact hitter. So what about his 245 batting average for last season? Well, I'll go over on that. He doesn't walk enough to truly warrant a leadoff spot, but it's the Nationals, so he's likely going to stick there. I'm in on a 90-run, 12-homer, 65 runs batted in season with 50 stolen bags and a 260 average, which is good, but not enough to select him within the top 5 rounds. Moving on to number 7, we have Manny Machado. You can get him around pick 51. 75 runs scored last season, 30 homers, 91 runs batted in, 3 stolen bases, and a 258 average. Now, I have made this comparison before, but I'm going to bring it up again. What's the difference between Manny Machado and Nolan Arenado? OPS? Well, Machado's got 781 to Nolan Arenado's 774. Cumulative stats? 75 runs, 30 homers, and 91 batted in for Machado versus 71, 26, and 93 for Arenado. Batting average, 258 for Machado, 266 for Arenado. There really isn't enough of a difference for me to pick up one over the other, especially if Arenado could be had 4 rounds later. Oh, and I forgot age. Arenado only has Machado by a year. Let's go to number 6. I've got Sean Murphy. You can get him around pick 145. 65 runs scored last season, 21 homers, 68 runs batted in, 251 average. Now, Murphy is a great option at catcher, provided you do a good job of switching your lineups daily. Travis d'Arnaud is a full-time capable catcher playing in a part-time role for that team, so he's going to eat into Murphy's starts more than a backup probably should. If you're planning on rostering a second catcher, then Murphy is a solid pickup, but there are much easier and frankly smarter picks that you can make to shore up your catcher spot. Let's go to number 5. We have Aaron Nola. You can get him around pick 47. Last season, he had 12 wins, 202 strikeouts, 4.46 ERA, and a 1.15 whip. Nola, to me, is best described as just simply borderline. He is great as a control pitcher. He can throw a lot of strikes, but opponents will barrel him up more than the league average. He can get batters to chase on some of his pitchers, but he sometimes struggles to put batters away on that chase. That leads to seasons where he will have elite whip numbers, but he's going to struggle with the home run ball, especially last season when he gave up 32 of them. I'm going to pass. To number 4 we go. We got Kyle Schwarber, number 77 pick in the drafts this year. 108 runs scored, 47 homers, 104 runs batted in, no stolen bases, and a 197 average. Like Alonso, Schwarber is a light tower of power. Also like Alonso, Schwarber is going to be a massive detriment to both speed and batting average numbers. Now Kyle isn't on this list if the league counts walks and or on base percentage, but for most leagues that don't count those, it makes it difficult to own a player that might be elite in 3 categories but a major drain in 2 others. That's just too big of a hole to dig out of. Let's go to number 3. We got Ketel Marte. You can get him around pick 110. Last season, he had 94 runs, 25 homers, 82 runs batted in, 8 stolen bases, and a 276 average. For all you trendsetters out there, Ketel is the player for you. He has bounced his OPS every season for the last 6 years. To wit, we have 769, then 981, then down to 732, back up to 909, down to 728, and last season was 843. So any guesses on what's going to happen this season? Well, hopefully, for Marte's sake, he replicates his StatCast measures and proves me wrong. If he posts a 100-point drop in his OPS this season, then he's not going to be worth the mid-round pick that you would have had to have spent to get him. Let's go to number 2. We have Esteury Ruiz. You can get him around pick 141. Last season, he had 47 runs scored, 5 homers, 47 runs batted in, 67 stolen bases, and a 254 average. Now, the only way Ruiz is worth a mid-round pick is if you have drafted a behemoth of a power squad up and down that lineup, and you have punted stolen bases, and then decided that you want to suddenly switch gears and become competitive in the stolen base category as well. Now, the only problem with that, with picking up Ruiz, is that he's going to be a drain in potentially the other 4 categories. He may not even start 100 games in the outfield this season. My suggestion: draft power hitters that can run as well, so that way you don't get stuck digging for one-dimensional hitters later on in the draft. And finally, at number 1, we have Tyler Glass. Now, you can get him around pick 41 this season. Last season, he posted 10 wins, 162 strikeouts, 3.53 ERA, and a 1.08 whip. Now, Glass now is going to be arguably a top 5 pitcher when he takes the rubber. The only problem is that he is averaged only 11 starts a year in his 8-year career. Now, I do realize the fact it might be a little misleading because he did make 39 relief appearances as well, but despite that, he has only surpassed 100 innings pitched twice in his career. So what makes you think that he's going to post the 150 innings pitched that he is needed to be worth the 3rd round selection? And that's going to do it here for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like on the video and of course subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I am going to sign off for now, but I will catch you guys on the next episode.